You have to watch this video before moving to South Korea in 2025. This is Justin, and I make videos about life here in South Korea, be it the good, the bad, the amazing. And in this video, I'll be sharing with you the pros and cons about the life here in South Korea, especially for foreigners like us. And Korea is a good place. Let's start there. Korea is a wonderful place and full of opportunities, especially for foreigners. And for a person like me who is from the Philippines, coming from a third world country, it's really a different experience being able to live here in a first world country like South Korea. From the convenience of transportation, the cost of living, the quality of life, healthcare, salary. These positives and the mixture of some negatives really made my life here in South Korea very much appreciated and interesting. And in this video, as mentioned, there are pros and cons that you have to know before moving here in South Korea. Well, first of the list is that if you do not know the language or do not speak the language, it's impossible for you to be able to establish connection. Unfortunately, in this day and age of internationalization, globalization, it's quite difficult, even here in South Korea, to even speak English. There are people who can communicate fluently, can understand English, but let's be honest, almost or less than 50% here don't really use English. Even if there are signages in English, there are stores in English, almost 100% of the time you have to use Korean in your everyday life. And not having the knowledge about the language could be part of the cons for you. And moving aside, probably if you were able to learn the language, another con would be you'll be able to use that language here in South Korea. For example, when you go back to your home country, no one speaks Korean in your home country. Like probably less people, you'd be able to count in the fingers the number of people who can speak Korean. And that's the thing. The key takeaway is that the language you learn from here usually stays here in South Korea as well in terms of usage and impact in your life. That's why if you really want to move to South Korea, you should really be looking at it on the long-term thing. It's not just a short term that you want to learn the language, live here for a year, and then go back to your home country. The thing is, when you learn Korean, you have to use Korean here as well to be able to communicate and establish connections. So with those two cons, I think probably it's already big of a deal for some people, but that's the reality here in South Korea. They're trying their best to learn the language or implement changes, like, for example, use of AI, automatic translations. Like in schools, they're trying to implement such. But that still remains a big issue here in South Korea. But going back to that concept, we can turn that around and see this ability to learn Korean and speak Korean as actually an opportunity for you. Because, for example, you were able to learn the language and go back to your home country. You could be the person that connects Korea in your home country, gaining more opportunities and more, probably I can say, competitive advantage. And that way, again, we were able to turn the cons into a pro, because living the life here in South Korea and be able to adapt to Korean culture helps you grow personally and professionally. That's already an added skill, an added layer to your competencies, the ability to communicate in Korean. And actually, Korean letters are easy to learn, but the language itself would require practice and constant use of the language to be able to master it. And 1 year will never be enough for you to be able to fully gain the confidence to express yourself. And although we were able to turn one con into a pro, this still is part of your development, and hopefully moving forward, as you gain more confidence in speaking Korean, you're able to get more opportunities out of it. Well, going back to the pro of living here in South Korea, if you're able to move here in South Korea and you are a K-pop or like Korean drama fan, almost all Korean concerts can be, you have the opportunity to attend or join them if not for free, but on a comparatively lower price compared to these concerts being held in your home country? Well, because logistically it's cheaper here. Second, there are so many events here wherein they invite foreigners to create contents to cover these events and give them tickets as payment for this coverage. And I was able to enjoy these benefits when I was studying my master's at Hanyang University, since I had free time. From time to time, I was able to get some tickets and attend Korean idol concerts and some of the shows. Although I'm not a K-pop fan, I was able to appreciate what it feels like about attending concerts, being able to feel the music and something like that. That's a pro, because of your logistically you're already here in South Korea. So when they have their concerts, you're already first in line to get the ticket technically. And let's move again with the pros. I think aside from the healthcare system here in South Korea, the efficient transportation system is really a pro, something that you really look forward to when you go to South Korea, especially here in Seoul. And the train system are very nice, very efficient. You can go from different places using one transportation card. Even your credit cards can help you with this transportation. But although that's part of the pros, I think there's also a cons side to it, because Seoul has a very good transportation system, but it is not extended to different places, like for those hard to reach provinces here in South Korea. And sometimes the only way for you to go to these provinces is just by bus, and that takes a lot of time. And I find this as partly pro and cons, because of the efficient transportation in cities, but cons because if you want to travel and experience the traditional Korean, the old Korean, the history Korean, these are available in the provinces, and it will be very difficult for you to do so because of the transportation. There are buses, I understand that, but I think it would be very much efficient if there are also subway stations connected to those. This is more of me nitpicking some of the challenges in these areas, but I think that could be an area of improvement here in South Korea as well. This con could be very much controversial, but we all know it happens. That there are activities or instances of racism here in South Korea. And unfortunately, it still happens until these past few years. And it will really take a lot of time, years, and development and acceptance on the aspect of Koreans before this idea of racism really gets removed from the system. Because I think it's a matter of, it's not just Koreans needing to go to South Korea anymore. It's also Koreans needing foreigners to live here in South Korea to sustain the economy. Because a lot of the jobs, especially the difficult, dangerous, those who are challenging jobs, are not being done by the Koreans anymore. They are being accomplished by the foreigners. So unless the Koreans are able to gain more appreciation and tolerance to differences and probably be able to celebrate differences, it will be very much difficult for us as foreigners to fully adapt here in South Korea. And the only key way for us, for foreigners to be able to receive almost fair treatment, is actually to be able to speak the language. It's a very challenging task, but that's part of it. And I hope and pray sometime in the future, these acts of racism, incidents of racism get resolved and people get more, become more understanding and more, tolerant to these kinds of differences. And probably moving on with the last pro, I think Korea is the land of opportunities. You'll find different things and different opportunities to earn money here in South Korea, from acting to teaching to doing these jobs, office work, and such. Although the job market is very competitive, foreigners always find ways to get this competitive advantage because they are foreigner, especially if their country is what's Korea's current market or current target. And with this video, I hope you learned something about the pros and cons here in South Korea. If you want to know more about life here in South Korea, my daily life, my 9 to 5, watch out for more videos and see you in the next video.